everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm going to show you 7 ways today that you can take years off of your appearance. I know most of you that come here are over 35. I have all age ranges here, but that's the majority of you guys that are here with me day in, day out. But even if you're not 35, I think it's safe to say that the majority of us do not want to walk out the door looking older than we are. I do a lot of videos here talking about skincare and anti-aging and different makeup tricks and reviews and things like that. But this video is going to focus on things you can do instantly before you walk out the door that will dramatically change your makeup game. If you've been doing certain things, they can actually make you look older than you are without you realizing it. So if you want to see these 7 tips and tricks and ways to look younger than you are, just keep watching. Before I get started with my first tip, if you are new here to my channel, if this is your first time watching me, or if you just have not hit that subscribe button yet, I would love it if you would consider doing so before the end of this video and becoming part of the family. I'd love to have you here with me on a regular basis. While pretty much all of these tips and ways are geared towards makeup, the first one is skincare. I'm not going to get too involved with it because I have so many videos on skincare. I actually have a few playlists, 2 or 3. I'll link them down below so you can go see more about how I actually take care of my skin and keep it balanced. You want to make sure that you exfoliate your skin a couple of times a week to get rid of those dead skin cells that are sitting on the surface. That can directly affect what your makeup looks like when you apply it. In addition to that, your lips need exfoliating too. They can look dehydrated and not as full if you don't keep them exfoliated as well. Whether you have oily skin or dry skin, find a moisturizer that suits your skin. Make sure your skin is adequately hydrated for the day. Same with lips. Apply a lip balm in the morning so that while you're applying your makeup, it has time to sink in. Your lips will be plumper. As we age, our lips get less full, they lose pigmentation. So anything we can do to help our lips out is going to be hugely helpful. Number 2 has to do with our skin. We want it to be as even looking as possible. If you are finding that your pores are appearing a little bit larger, or you're seeing some fine lines or even deeper fine lines and you've never looked into primer, or you're disliking the primer that you have now, it's time to look at primers. Even if you thought they didn't do anything for you, maybe you tried 1 or 2 years ago and you thought, oh, primers are not for me. They've changed a lot over the years and there's so many different ones. Now, I'm not saying you have to go spend your entire savings on trying primers, but pick a couple that have really good reviews that people consistently are saying that they like. You can easily get samples from many retailers now, and a primer is going to help fill in those pores, fill in those wrinkles, and keep foundation from settling into those wrinkles as the day progresses as well. It's also going to make your foundation go on nice and smooth and just last longer throughout the day. You just want to use less foundation than you may have used in the past. If you're using heavy foundation day in, day out, it can accentuate things that you don't want it to accentuate. So you're trying to cover some imperfections, but while trying to cover those imperfections, the heaviness is actually accentuating some texture that you didn't have when you were younger. So the solution is to go in with light layers. I find using a sponge is much better because it's just less harsh on my skin and it helps things blend in more seamlessly. That's a personal preference. I like to go in sections, 1 layer at a time, a light layer, because sometimes that's enough. That's all I need is that 1 layer of foundation and I can spot conceal and I'm done. Sometimes I'll just do certain areas of the face. Others I'll assess after I have that first layer on and I'll see where I need to apply a little bit more foundation. Maybe it's just the cheeks or just my nose or somewhere like that just to cover a little more redness, but it doesn't need to be heavy all over the face. Another foundation tip is keeping it restricted to underneath your under eye area. I used to take it underneath my lash line, and I'm sure a lot of you did too, and you may still do that. The reason why this isn't a great thing to do as we age is because you just finished moisturizing that area. Most of us have a texture, fine line, dryness situation going on underneath our eyes. When you add foundation underneath the eye, it's going to add an extra layer because most of us put concealer on top of it. And it's not made to moisturize. It's made to dry down and set on your face. And when you do that under your eye, it can actually accentuate any issues you have going on. So stop it underneath the eye area and things will end up blending in, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. This next one is huge because our eyes see a lot of changes as we age in terms of shape, discoloration, texture, even starting in our 30s. And now that I'm in my mid 40s, I'm finding it's just even harder. Not only do you want to use concealer or corrector or both right underneath your eye, but you also want to hit the dark inner corners because that tends to make us look really tired and older. And you also want to hit this outer corner and place concealer right in that area. A lot of people forget about this area. It can really drag the eye down, and we do get more discoloration there the older that we get. In the process of correcting, you don't want to neglect your eyelids. Our eyelids get veiny and red, and it makes us look tired, it makes us look older. So placing some kind of corrector or concealer on the lid is super important to making us look brighter and fresher, which is probably what we all want, right? So I like to take a corrector or a tinted eye primer and then set it with powder. Setting with powder is huge. Most of our eyelids get a little bit hooded and your eyeshadow can crease. Setting with a translucent powder is definitely going to help because even if you use a base shadow, if you don't set it between with some kind of a setting powder, things could crease. The shadow isn't always enough as we age. I've mentioned reassessing some things in this video, and brows are no exception. If you've been doing your brows the same way for years and years and years, it might be time to looking at doing something a little bit different or tweaking something. It can be strange because you're not used to seeing yourself that way. When you're talking about being, over 35, let's use that as kind of our benchmark here, that drawn on, really defined, harsher brow line looks more aging than a more natural, filled in hair-like looking brow because our lashes and our brows thin as we age. So we do obviously need to fill them in, but doing so in a natural way just looks so much more youthful and fresh because think about what we looked like when we were younger. We had just natural full brows. We didn't have drawn on brows when we were younger with squared fronts. Also, a sharp or too high of an arch can actually age you. Creating a slight arch at the top of the brow can lift, but too high of an arch can make one look a little bit older and a little more harsh than intended. So that's something you may want to think about, is just going a little more natural and creating just a slight arch as opposed to a very high arch. As we get older, our eyes get more hooded, sometimes partially hooded. It's still a struggle. Sometimes they're fully hooded. The outer corner can start to droop a little. We get the fine lines over here, the discoloration at the outer corner, and our lashes start to thin. Everything is basically stacked against us as we get older with our eye area. And of course, that's where everyone is looking, is into your eyes, and you want to make them look the best that they can look. I do have an entire video on hooded eyes do's and don'ts, which is going to be way more thorough than I'm going to get here. So I'm going to link that video for you guys. But I did want to give you just an overview, a broad look at what you could do to fake an eye lift instantly. Even using minimal makeup, you can really make a difference with your eyes. I didn't use a whole lot of makeup today, and it really made a huge difference. That hood is just popping out at us because that is what light shades do. They pop. That's why we all use highlighter so much. Deeper shades are going to make those areas recede. So you want to create a shadow where your hood is, even if you are extremely hooded. This is a great step to do because you're not looking straight at people all day long. You're making faces, you're looking down, you're looking all different places, and putting that little bit of depth there is going to make a big difference into how lifted your eyes look. I like to take a bronzer as my transition shade a lot. You can use any mid-toned, a little bit deeper, maybe a shade deeper than what your skin is. You can even use a peach or a pink shade here. I like to do that too. It's very brightening. And I like to swirl that almost on my entire hood. You can stop it a little bit below your brow bone, but you're putting a brightener there later anyway, so it really doesn't matter. Just take it and swirl it from the crease and above all the way across and blend it in. How many times have you heard not to use a shimmery or a sheen shadow on your eyes if you're over 30 or over 40? If you've heard that, comment down below, because I've heard this so many times it's ridiculous, and I think that is just absurd advice, quite frankly, because a shimmer or a sheen can look really beautiful on the lid, especially if you have hooded eyes, because that is an area that you really want to pop. If you have a hooded eye, you can't really see that lid, and anything you can do to make it pop is going to work in your favor. Now, if you're really textured and you really know a shimmer or a glowy sheen is not going to work for you, you can use a mid-tone or a lighter shade, no problem. But there's so many of us that have shied away from using just a glowy looking shadow on the lid. It really does make the eyes just open up and look so beautiful. Don't be scared to try them if you want to try them. Also, let me know down below, do you use shimmery shadows on the regular? Or are you like me? Because I pretty much use one almost every single time I do my shadow. So when we're talking about highlighting, this step is pretty important as far as opening up the eye. Now we're just going to put a pop of lightness on that brow bone. I don't mean on the whole hood. If you put too much, it's just going to make that hood appear heavier because it's protruding. So just put it right underneath that arch of the brow, and also take that really light shade and put it in the inner corner, because despite concealing and correcting, that shadow kind of comes out because we do hollow out more underneath our eyes and lose fat with each passing year, and this area is part of that. So hit that dark area with a little bit of a light shadow. Sometimes I even take it right up to the eyebrow. It really helps brighten, it really helps lift the eye. I know I'm gonna get some flack for saying this, but if you can use any other liner color other than black, that's gonna work in your favor. Black can just tend to look really harsh. Liquid liners can look really harsh. Using a shadow or a pencil and using a deep brown, even a gray, a charcoal gray, can look really great. I like to take a pencil and smudge it out, or I'll take a shadow and use it as my liner, and it just looks so much softer. You can even do this if you have some kind of a hooded eye. You don't have to extend it. You can keep it right at the root of the lashes, but it really does make a difference in just how much softer the eyes appear. Another thing to keep in mind is the angle of your line if you are using liner. Many people go straight out, and if that suits your eye shape, that's perfect, but many of us, because we do have slightly more downturned eyes, you need to really be going along this lower lash line and following that, almost extending it, and it really does help lift the eye and make you look younger. I feel like the eye part is the most extensive part of this video because there's so many things that are involved that can really make a huge difference, and everybody just looks into your eyes, right? So the last part is just don't forget to curl your lashes. I can't tell you how many women I see on a daily basis that are, I would say, over 40, over 50, that regularly do not curl their lashes, and their lashes just go straight out. And it would just make a huge difference if they just took a lash curler every day before they did their mascara and curled their lashes. I have an entire video on how to keep your lashes curled and how to create more volume. If you have trouble with that, I'm gonna link that for you, but curl your lashes. Be very strategic where you're placing your face products. You can use creams, you can use powders. I know a lot of people think you only can use creams once you reach a certain age. There's so many good powders now though. You can really do either one. So do whatever you're comfortable with. You don't want to place your contour too low because it can drag your face down. You really do have to look at your face shape, and there's all kinds of videos out there for that. But what I like to do is just kind of look down and look for the shadow where my cheekbone is. And that's where I like to place my contour. If you are concerned about some neck issues, you may want to place some contour along your jawline and your neck as well. But contour does not have to be scary. It does not have to be harsh. It can be your friend. It does help to create some depth to your flat canvas that you just made with your foundation and concealer and all that. Now, whether you use cream or powder blushes, where you place them is essential. You don't want to place them on the apples of your cheeks anymore, because I've said this in a video before. If you think about the apples of your cheeks that were probably here at one point, now they're here, and when you don't smile, they're here. So you're gonna have blush down here, which is automatically gonna drag your face down. So if you place your blush starting out here, because that'll help accentuate the cheekbone, you can end it right below your pupil, and that'll help make the middle of your face brighter. I like to bring it a little bit underneath my eye and across my nose. I do like to kind of take it across my forehead and my chin too. I just feel like it ties everything together. It helps add to that youthful look. Highlighter is not an enemy, guys. I know everybody thinks, you know, when you get older, texture, highlighter, no, it's like oil and water. They make some beautiful, very subtle highlighters. Liquids, creams, you can even dab many of those on over powder. Laura Mercier is the one that I'm using today. It's very, very subtle. I don't even know if you can see it right now in this light, but it really does look beautiful and soft. And putting a highlighter from about the outer part of the eye up to, you know, your hairline, and I like to take it into my temple because our temples narrow as we get older. So I like to bring some light to this area, just a little bitty diagonal area right here, and blend it in, and I kind of take it up and around here. That's just what I like to do with my highlighter. I feel like it looks really pretty and soft, and it really helps give a lift to the face. As we get older, we lose pigmentation in our lips. Our lip line can become uneven, and we lose fullness, so you get some texture, some divots and wrinkles in your lips. If you've shied away from lip liner in the past because you thought it gave the lips a very harsh look, look into getting a neutral or nude, mid-toned lip liner and lining your lips a little bit on the edge, maybe overlining just a tad. I like to kind of round out my upper lip a little bit because I feel like it's gotten straighter over the years. I don't do much to my lower lip because it's already full. That's a personal decision. But doing this and bringing the lip liner inwards and kind of filling in actually helps fill in some of those little wrinkles where they've gotten less full over the years, because they have, and it will help your lipstick or whatever lip product you use stay on longer. And what's nice is that the lip liner won't feel as drying because you've had that lip balm sitting on your lips from when you moisturized them before you started your makeup. Using a mid-toned lip shade as opposed to a deeper lip shade is really going to work in your favor here, because again, think about your natural lip shades and lip shades that look more youthful when you think about youth. They're not dark and heavy. They're lighter, they're brighter. Those darker, deeper shades are going to accentuate the fine lines, the texture, the unevenness that we're trying to avoid focusing on. So a natural, more true to your lips or lighter lip shade is definitely going to work in your favor. Whether you choose lipstick or lip gloss is a personal preference. Sometimes I like to use both, but a nice hydrating gloss can really help plump things up. I want to hear what you guys do on a daily basis, just little tips and tricks to help yourself look more youthful. Leave those down below for me. I can't wait to read them. If you're not subscribed to my channel yet, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button and be here with me on a regular basis, become part of the family. If you haven't seen the hooded eye video that I've done with the do's and don'ts, I have that linked for you, so you can head over there after this. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.